Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Quinton here, and this is tutorial number 45, and in this tutorial we're going to take a look at how to make text and password fields in our form. So the text field we're going to handle first, and obviously that is just a text box where the user could put in any information they wanted, and they'd be able to see the information that they're typing. Whereas if the user tried to fill in a password field, the password field actually makes bullet points, but basically these two fields are very similar, or they're almost the same, with the exception of a password field having those bullet points hiding away the characters. So let's take a look at how to create one of these fields, and to do that we're gonna create an element called input. Okay, so this is actually a single tag element, so we can go ahead and actually close that off with our closing slash. But this input element actually takes a few attributes, okay, and the first attribute is the type. Okay, and the reason why we have to specify a type is because this attribute could be rendered as one of many elements. Okay, so because we want this to be rendered as a text field, we're going to give this a type of text, and then I'm going to go ahead and give this a few other attributes, because there are a few attributes that we can give to this input element. So the first one is a name, and this is actually required because whenever you want to send the data from this input element through to the server needs some way of identifying what information came from this element. Okay, and the way it will do that is by looking at the name. So if you want to give this a name, then you could go ahead and give it a name of anything you want. So I'm just going to say text field. And more than likely you would want to give this a name that actually means something. So let's say you wanted the user to put in their name in this input element, so we could go ahead and say name just before here as a label, and then that would be prompting the user for their name. Then we might want to give this input an element of name, or let's say we're asking for the username, then we might give this a name of username, so something that actually corresponds to what we're expecting from the user. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this in Firefox and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so here we're asking the user for a username, and we have our text field appearing next to this. So if I went ahead and typed in my name, then I could go ahead and do that, and you can see that it appears just fine. Okay, but right now we can actually type in a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo and it'll just keep going. So you can see that I did indeed fill in quite a lot of data there. So let's say we wanted to give this a limit, like the user could only fill in 30 characters or something. Well, we can do that with an attribute. So if I go back to Notepad over here, I could go ahead and give this an attribute of max length, and I could set that equal to 10, and that means that I'd only be able to fill in 10 characters. So let's go back to Firefox and click refresh, and now when I try type over here, let's try fill in more than 10 characters. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 0 is our 10th character. So watch what happens. I'm typing, but I can't put anything else into this input element. So that is how the max length attribute works. And again, let's go back here, and I could give this another attribute called value, and value basically determines what the default value is going to be in this input element. Okay, so let's say I give this a value of name, then when I save this and go back to Firefox and click refresh, well, I actually have to rerun this entire thing because I've filled in that already, don't I? Let's just do that. Run in Firefox. When the form first loads, okay, the default value is going to be the value that you placed into this value attribute. And for the most part, I don't think you really need that, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because there's no point in using the value attribute because you want the user to actually fill in a value. And the last value, or the last attribute that I'm going to speak to you guys about, is called size. So I'm going to go ahead and open this or start this attribute off, and basically what the size is how long or how big do you want this little string, how do I say, this actual input to appear. So right now it's at its default, but let's say I wanted the size of this okay, well, let's not make it 1,000. This input element to be 100, okay? Then that means it's going to be 100 characters long. So not pixels or anything like that, but actual characters, as in characters that you can fit inside of this actual input element. So let's go back and click refresh, and as you can see, now it is much bigger. So that is a size of 100. And if you were to type 100 characters out, you would find that they'd probably fit in that size. Again, if I made this something like 10 characters, then it would be much smaller. So let's go back and click refresh, and now you can see it is quite a lot smaller. So that would fit the 10 characters, and if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, that pretty much fits our 10 characters perfectly. And you're probably thinking, okay, well, we're 7 minutes into the video and we still haven't touched on the password field. And like I said, the password field is pretty much exactly the same as the text field. So we could go ahead and duplicate this, and I could say that I'm asking the user then for their password over here, okay, and they'd fill in their password. But this password field can take all the same attributes. So the name could be password, because obviously the name has to be unique, but max length could be the same, size could be the same, and actually you might want them to be the same so that they look the same. The only difference that we have to then change is the type, which I'm going to change this to password. And what that's going to do is just make bullet points appear when I start typing. So now that we've saved that, let's go back over to Firefox and click refresh. And now I've got my username over here where I could fill in a username. So let's just say I filled in a username of Quinton. I could then fill in a password. And as soon as I fill in a password, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can see that this appears as bullet points. But other than that, it will take all the same attributes, or can use all the same attributes as a normal text field. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys in this video, and if you enjoyed it, then don't forget to comment, leave a like, or subscribe if this is the first time you watch one of my videos, and I will see you guys next time.